Hello, it's Thursday, it's Litsoc, and today we are in the Star Trek universe. Okay, so I'm going to stand up now. Okay, so you all this afternoon, could you be quiet, cadet reader, are in Starfleet. Starfleet is a fictional organisation, it's part of the Star Trek universe. Have any of you seen an episode of any of the Star Trek, or
Does Young Sheldon
half
count?
of film?
Yeah,
right?
does Young Sheldon count?
No, it does
Never
not.
seen it, never heard it, never will.
No, I didn't ask that, did I? I did not ask that. Thank you. Okay. Starfleet Academy is the school, the university that feeds into Starfleet. So you will be undertaking tasks that are familiar to those who serve on the Starship Enterprise, and that's the main body of the Star Trek fleet. It was the first starship, and it goes exploring through the universe. It is not a military vessel, although it is under military discipline, naval military discipline. So quite often during the episodes and the films, we have language and quotations from things to do with the sea. There are artifacts to do with the sea. There's one point in Captain Kirk's cabin where he has a ship's wheel, and they read, and it's a very literary crew as well, but it is not all English-speaking people, certainly not now. It is extremely diverse. Okay? Some context. Starfleet was active and initiated in the 22nd century. It's at the moment started in the 2130s, so long after we will all be gone. Okay? Star Trek itself began as a science fiction program in 1966. It is 60 years old this year. And the original series had the most extraordinary visual effects. When Star Wars came out in 1978, we thought that was amazing, but considering that Star Trek was done in the 1960s, it still looks pretty good, doesn't it, Mr. Humphries?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes.
The Starship Enterprise is based on the star constellation of the Plough, which you can see in the summer sky. Do you know what that looks like, everybody? Yeah? Do you know what the Enterprise looks like?
You'll find soon enough.
Big central core, two engines either side, and underneath it as well. Okay, so that's the sort of basic. It houses a huge number of people, and Starfleet Academy houses a huge number of people as well, because they go out across the universe and are in bases and planets and on diplomatic missions for an Earth that is no longer separated into countries. Something terrible happened. We don't quite know what, but we suspect it was nuclear. Civilization collapsed, and according to one of the later films, and indeed quite early on in the series, Earth only started to recover with the first aliens to arrive. Phoebe, Esther, do you know who the first aliens were to arrive?
Is it the Vulcans?
The Vulcans, yes, the Vulcans. It's right at one of the end of the films. Which one is it? First Contact. First Contact, and it's fabulous. It's just one of the hairs on your back of your neck moments, because in the original series, the bridge was manned. The officers, amongst the officers, apart from Captain Kirk, who's captain, was a Vulcan, played by an actor called Leonard Nimoy, who was actually American, but had sort of elf-like ears, pointy ears, to which they're referred to quite a lot when people are being insulting. And he was the science officer and also the first officer. We also had on the ship an African-American actor called Nichelle Nichols, and she played Lieutenant Uhura. She was the first African-American woman, thinking that this first started in 1966, to take a major leading role in a television series. And Dr. Martin Luther King saw her as a role model for women and men who really were still segregated in 1966. They were still able to be separated from white people, both in schools and in all sorts of living conditions. Okay? This is the original. There's Captain Kirk. There's Mr. Spock. There's Nimoy. This is the Doctor. Bones, he's called, but Dr. McCoy. There's a very young Mr. Scott. He's the engineering officer. All the shirts refer to different ranks. This is Nurse Chapel. She was actually married to the creator at one point, Gene Roddenberry. This is Walter Koenig, who played Chekhov. Now, 1966, the Cold War was going on. We'd only just survived, the world only just survived the Cuban Missile Crisis when Russia put missiles on Cuba. And yet we had a Russian in charge of the weapons on Star Trek. This was an absolutely revolutionary, diverse crew. There's Nichelle Nichols, Lieutenant Uhura. She was direct inspiration for Maggie Alderin Pocock, who's one of our leading space scientists now.
What colour is the highest rank and what colour is the lowest?
The highest rank is Captain Kirk's yellow, Commander Captain. These are both commanders.
Just to confuse you, though, in the later series they do change the colours.
They do change the colours in later
we'll
series.
worry about that
this
in a minute.
Is the original.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's Mr. Sulu, who is of has Japanese family. His grandparents lived in Japan and then they moved to California. And Mr. Sulu, George Takei, he was interned as a child in California as an enemy alien. So again, to have him, and also as an Asian, when the United States were fighting the Vietnam War, it was a sort of pseudo-war against Russia, was unbelievably revolutionary. So it ran for 3 series, and then ratings were falling across the network, and NBC pulled it. However, what happened, this is long before social media existed, the internet didn't exist, fans wrote in, they wrote into the network, they wrote into NBC and said, bring it back, bring it back, bring it back. So eventually what they did was an animated series, and then a series of films, and then we've now had, how many series have you had now?
Must be at least 6 or 7. 6
or 7 different scenarios of different ships, different captains, and then there were being films as well, feature films. I can remember going to see the first feature film of with the original cast. They enacted a different scenario with the Enterprise coming at us out of the screen. It was unbelievable. And it was one of those series where it became a sort of cult. Because imagine Harry Potter. Yes? You all heard of Harry Potter? Okay? Imagine going on a trip maybe in the early 2000s to King's Cross Station. There will be queues round the block to go and stand platform 9 3/4 and go to the shop. Yeah? And also, when the Warner Brothers exhibition opened up at in Hertfordshire, queues and queues all the time. Okay? It was like that. Star Trek conventions, people queue for hours to see their favourite stars, okay, and talk to them and think about the universe. And of all of them, George Takei and William Shatner are the only ones now still alive. William Shatner's in his 90s. 2 years ago, he went on a rocket. Jeff Bezos' rocket, was it Jeff Bezos?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, to fly into space. He thought he died and gone to heaven. It was just amazing for him to have been part of this series and then to go into space. George Takei is now in his 80s. He's still very active. He's a gay man. It wasn't much used in Star Trek, but he's an activist for gay rights, particularly now in, you know, who's America. Okay. One of the things that had happened with Gene Roddenberry, who was the original creator, he had fought in the Second World War, and he had seen the devastation that had led to Hiroshima and Nagasaki, nuclear weapons, and what was going to happen if we didn't make peace with each other. And so he created this scenario, the United Federation of Planets, and he based it really on the idealized United Nations. And the idea is no more countries, no more competitiveness, in fact no more money in the Star Trek universe. Everything is shared, it's available. It's not quite communist, is it, really? But there's no sense of want or problems. The problems are out in the universe, not back on Earth. We've sorted ourselves out after terrible cost. That's not to say that troubles don't come to Earth, they do, but usually, certainly in the original series, very rarely saw Earth. In the films, we see them a lot more, and certainly in the new films, where we have a different timeline and different characters playing the same characters, with different actors playing different characters now, the trouble comes back to Earth much more quickly. Okay, so for this afternoon, I'm going to stop talking for a minute. You're going to do the first of your tasks under Captain Humphreys.
Right. Okay. Right.
And if you want to know my rank, I'm an admiral.
Round of applause for the
That
admiral.
is like
Okay.
Is that yellow?
Is that good or bad?
it's the
I'm
top,
Captain.
top rank.
And we don't have the jumpers to match, sorry. Okay, welcome cadets. So I'm Captain Humphreys. So you are about to embark on the most challenging course that the Academy has to offer, but it's also the most rewarding. Now the training exercises that you're about to be put through are going to test your ability to follow the oath of allegiance that all of you as Starfleet Academy cadets have committed to follow. So now you can turn over that little piece of paper that I put on your table, and could I ask
You stand up,
Cadet
please.
Flynn. Oh yeah, stand up please.
Stand up, please.
Cadet Flynn.
Stand up, please.
Stand up, cadets. On your feet. Stand up, stand up. Okay, Cadet Flynn. If you haven't got one of your own, you can share. No need to be fussing about this. Cadet Flynn, can you please read out the Oath of Allegiance?
As a Starfleet cadet, I will explore with curiosity, act with empathy, think critically, and put the good of others first.
Okay, thank you very much. So, this is what you need to have uppermost in mind when you are performing all of the exercises, okay? Now, you may all be aspiring to be senior commanding officers, like Admiral Huntley and myself. But as brilliant as you may be individually, you are nothing without your crew. Captain Kirk would not be half as successful as he was without these brilliant minds all around him. Okay,
Teamwork.
so it is only through pooling your talents as a team that you will pass the assignments. And those of you who succeed in building a team will be among the elite few to take us to the stars. Okay, you may now sit down, cadets. So, now before I go into the first exercise, we are partly doing this to tie in with a new series that's starting, Starfleet Academy. And it's the latest series, it's brand new this year, and as it suggests, it is set in Starfleet Academy and follows cadets. That's all we know, we haven't seen it, but it's very appropriate for what we're doing today. Right, so here comes your first scenario. So I'm going to talk to you about something called the Prime Directive now. Now the Prime Directive, it's one of the guiding key principles of Starfleet, okay? And essentially what it says is that Starfleet prohibits Starfleet personnel, all officers, from interfering with the natural development of alien civilizations. Okay, that basically means don't interfere. Right? Got that? So,
They'll be killing each other, but there's nothing you can do.
So, on that basis, here's your scenario. A civilization that does not have access to warp technology is struck by a lethal disease. Now, you have the ability to beam down a cure. So here are your options. Do you, A, intervene with the cure, B, don't intervene and respect the Prime Directive, or C, offer indirect help? For example, accidentally leaving information, resources, etc., or guide them remotely. Okay, so I'm going to give you 2 minutes, and I'm going to strictly time you, cadets, 2 minutes to discuss and report back on your choice. Now, before you do, you've got to sum it up in 1 or 2 sentences. That's all you've got. And I have got here your pips, your accommodation. So whichever table gives us the best explanation will earn a pip. And essentially, whichever team has the most pips at the end, there you go, there's Admiral Huntley's. Whichever team has the most pips are going to graduate top of the class. Understood, cadets? Okay, right, you've got 2 minutes, go. So yeah, it's 2 minutes. So I'll hand back to you after this. Just do as you.
Let's do A. So the aliens.
You've always got the next
Because
one.
no one's going to go for
Yes.
They might actually find the curious.
I'll leave it.
And we're not intervening, we're giving them resources so they can use them or not. That's technically going to be.
Right, you've got 1 minute left. Oh, sorry, well, sorry, cadets. There we go. It's back.
So I think she do say because they can choose to either die or not. I'd rather use it. I'd rather be alive. Each to their own.
Okay, I think everyone's stopped talking. So, let's start at that back table over there. So, what are we doing?
We picked A because as part of our pledge, we said to always put the good of others first, and we thought by intervening with the cure, we're putting them before ourselves and helping them with their disease.
Okay, so we are going with A because of our commitment to pledge to help others, put others first. Okay, what about this table?
We said C because as well as our pledge to put the good of others first, it also says think critically, and by intervening with the cure, they might use it in the wrong way, and that's not good.
Interesting point. Good lateral thinking there. Okay, so we're looking at 2 parts of the Pledge of Allegiance. This table.
We chose C because we empathise with the condition of the alien civilization, but we know that we can't interfere because of the Prime Directive, and so have decided to choose C.
And what's our indirect? You decide.
We didn't decide.
Okay. And lastly, this table.
We chose B because we're going to respect the Prime Directive and not intervene with the cure.
Okay, so straight away, just leave them to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Hands off, laissez-faire.
It's a natural order of things. They said the natural development of alien civilization is going to be partly beneficial, building a population as well.
Partly beneficial if there was no population.
Overpopulation.
Or overpopulation. I think it said no population. Okay. Okay, interesting. So respect the order of things. Respect natural law. Okay. Right, I'll ask you a couple of follow-up questions because some interesting thoughts here, and I'm not sure who has answered this best. And I'll ask you a couple of follow-up questions. So what values are sort of under, if you think back to the Prime Directive and also your Oath of Allegiance, what values in particular are under threat here? Cadets, Chowdhury.
Act with empathy and put the good of others first.
Okay.
So if, for example, you did nothing, you're not acting empathetically because you're not putting yourself down on that level and thinking what you would have liked to happen.
And that's what acting with empathy is. Okay, so some room for flexibility perhaps, rather than like rigidly sticking to the Prime Directive. Okay. Any other thoughts to that question? Okay. Next question I want to ask you. How can having the right intentions and doing the right thing actually cause more harm than good? We had a sort of answer regarding that over here, but anyone got any other thoughts on that? I can see. Yes, cadets, ears.
We can't always predict the consequences of our actions, particularly with having a direct helping approach. But if we have an indirect helping approach, we can perhaps control the outcomes more.
Okay, so again, the flexible approach and thinking not just in a linear way, Interesting thoughts. And finally, Cadet Jodri again.
If you gave it indirectly, they might take that information the wrong way and possibly do it like even worse than if you had just given it to them straight.
And they do more harm than good. Okay. All right, well done, cadets. Some very good thinking there. So, Admiral Huntley, who do you think we should give our first pick to? Which table do you think?
Well, I think in terms of the empathy, that's very important. It is part of the Starfleet oath. However, they don't have access to warp technology. This also means that we can't just beam down and by the transporter, because that's the way that works in Star Trek. We don't, for quickness, we can't just beam down and behave like God, because that's effectively what we're doing. So I think it's the sea. It's those of the sea, indirect help.
Okay, so
that might mean disguising ourselves. It might mean, finding something local to help, some sort of herb or something, or it might actually mean just teaching one person how to effect a cure from within the planet.
Okay,
Direct
so
help, I think, is.
I give one to both.
Mm-hmm, to both.
Okay, right, you both get a pip. Look at that. Well done. Well done,
done.
cadets. Okay, right, back to you, Admiral Huntley. Next generation.
Next generation.
Yep.
Okay. So this was the second TV series from the 90s, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes, from the 90s. So it's quite a long time. We had the films, and then we had the Next Generation. This is what it's called, Star Trek Next Generation. And again, a very diverse crew, and quite different. It was Enterprise again, but quite a different ship. On the original Enterprise, you saw people's cabins, but there didn't seem to be anywhere to socialise together, was there? Whereas on this particular Enterprise, we had a social area, a bar, and that was manned by. Do you know who this is?
The actor, that is.
The actor, still working. Sister Act is her most famous film. My brain's gone dark as well.
It begins with a W.
Oh, I got it.
You got it?
Whoopi Goldberg, that's right, yes. And she'd asked specifically to be part of this crew. And she's a particular type of alien to Earth, I should say, and gone through a lot. And she very much respects Captain Picard. Now, Captain Picard, French ancestry, and eventually he retires and grows a vineyard in France. But he's actually played by Patrick Stewart, who in the 1980s was a wonderful actor with the Royal Shakespeare Company. And he took on the role of Captain Picard at the age of 46. He completely changed his life, moved to Los Angeles to be in the series, and also, anybody recognise him from other feature films? With Ian McKellen as well? Do you?
I don't know what movie, but I recognise his face.
Yeah? X-Men.
Oh yeah.
X-Men is his most famous other roles. Okay, they're all still working. Here we have a robot, Data, and Data's always trying to feel that he's more human. So in a sense, he, where we had Mr. Spock, who was half Vulcan, half human. Vulcans do not have try to suppress their emotions, because their history is that they got very close to annihilating their population through passion and war. And so Data is the new sort of Mr. Spock in a way. But he's trying to emulate his creator and the other members of the crew. This is Geordi, who he wears a visor because he's actually blind, and the visor helps him to see. So technology was coming in as well. This is Mr. Worf. Now, Mr. Worf is a Klingon. So the scenario was that we had this in the films, that the Klingons, the traditional enemy of the United Federation of Planets, we'll hear more about them in a minute. They had come to a peace accord. Basically, there was a famine, and the United Federation of Pilots, with Starfleet's help, came to the rescue. And he has come to work. He's the security officer. This is the ship's counsellor. Now, we all know that we have a school counsellor, and in Star Trek Next Generation, the ship's counsellor is actually part of the bridge crew, and she is actually an empath. She can feel and understand what other people are feeling. This is part of her genetic makeup. And here's Commander Riker. He's the first officer, and he went on to also direct films and movies. And this is the Doctor. So for this time, we have a female Doctor. And she and Jean-Luc have had a walkout, and now that's over, but they're still sailing on the same ship. One thing I should say is, of course, that our mobile phones would not be mobile phones without Star Trek. Who's got their mobile phone with them? Hold them up. Yeah. Every member of the crew, when they go onto a planet, they have a communicator. It's not called a mobile phone, it's called a communicator, and they flip open and they make a little sound, and then you can talk to the ship or to each other if you're separated. Without communicators in Star Trek, I don't think we would have gone with mobile phones. We've still had things like radio frequencies, which is basically, and radar, walkie-talkies. Okay. Also, what have I done with it? Did I bring it down? Oh, my iPad. When the doctors and science officers go onto a planet, they take something like this, called an iPad, because Apple didn't exist then. It's called a tricorder. So in other words, it records data that they find, that they're exploring. And the doctors also have very, very small portable scanning machines. Technology is absolutely amazing, but a lot of it fed into everyday design. So Star Trek was there first. Interestingly, in Star Wars, they haven't borrowed, have they? Same things again.
Of course, that comes later.
Yeah. And of course, in 1966, the Apollo moon program was halfway through. We landed on the moon in 1969. The computers for the Apollo moon landing were enormous. There's more power in your mobile phones now than there was to get us to the moon originally. And again, the computers in Star Trek are enormous. However, there is one thing that we have only just really started doing in the last sort of 20 years, and that's talking to our computers and they answering back. In Star Trek 1966, that was happening then. It was already, Gene Roddenberry and the designers had already thought of it. Okay, so we're going to have another scenario now, cadets.
Right.
Okay, so ready yourselves.
Okay, so different kind of scenario this time, cadets. So, this time round, a small mysterious creature has been spotted scurrying around Deck 7 of your starship. Some crew are alarmed and want to trap it immediately. Others think it might be hit or scared. Now just think to yourself, what's your first impression? Just think to yourself, okay? Now you have been asked to examine the available evidence, and the available evidence is about to arrive on your table, and decide what you should do now and what you recommend Starfleet should do in the future, because this is a new creature you've never encountered before. So 2 minutes to study 4 pieces of evidence and decide, first of all, what you think the creature wants or needs, and secondly, what you should do. Should you trap it, observe it, or initiate formal first contact, which is a standard procedure that Starfleet does when they meet new races. We talked about the Vulcans at the end of first contact. Coming down the planet, that's an example of first contact. Okay? So, once again, justify decisions 1 or 2 sentences. All clear, cadets? Okay, 2 minutes. Time starts. When you get your piece of paper.
The broken storage container nearby contains spilled food as if it was trying to eat. Security sensors show the creature avoids populated areas and moves slowly. A crew member reports hearing a soft squeak. It sounds really but it could be something.
I think we should observe
the
Get the values, always relate to the values.
first contact.
But then what if it's like a space monster that wants to kill
30 seconds, cadets.
Yeah,
Because obviously it
could have been trying to be worse in the future.
but it wouldn't want to eat anyone. Acting with alliance would
It might
Oh.
It's hurt, but if it wasn't hurt, no one was banning the whiteboard. So it could be that it's ill.
Okay, cadets.
We can argue for it, can't we? Okay.
Right, you've had a chance to study and analyse the creature, so let's see what we have decided to do. And this time I'm going to start with this table over here. What are we going to do?
So we said because it was like going like slow and it seemed quite scared to go near any people and it tried to break into a cupboard. It's probably a mix of like hurt or scared or hungry. But you don't want to just like trap it because you could get it more scared or like anger it. We were saying I think that maybe because they want to examine it, either they could put like a dummy that looks like one of the people alone and see how it reacts when it goes near it. So then would it try and attack it?
Okay.
And also they could lay out food, so it gets food and then examine it, because curiosity is one of their...
So are we saying observe it is our... Okay, alright. So remember, a couple of things that's remember, only 1 or 2 sentences, first of all, and secondly, don't forget to tie it closely to the values on the slip of paper. Each exercise, remind yourself of the values. But some interesting ideas there. This table, what are we doing?
So we decided, so we think what it wants is food, but also because it says they move slowly and it avoids populated areas, I have a feeling that it doesn't really want to meet us.
Okay.
If it's avoiding those populated areas, it wants to stay under the radar. So what we decided to do was to observe it, because it hasn't attacked anyone, but at the same time they're far away from people and they're staying far away from people. So if we observe it with things that don't necessarily put us in danger, like moving things kind of closer.
Last sentence, cadets. Remember, 1 or 2 sentences. You need to be concise, folks.
So if we just, I think what we should do is observe it so that it doesn't attack anybody, but also so it doesn't get angry, or maybe it's just scared.
Okay, thank you, Dan. I'm going to stop you there. Way over our word limit. Okay, this table, what are we going to do?
Oh, okay. So we were thinking observe it, and but in such a way that it doesn't scare it anymore, and also since it's act with empathy, it obviously wants food, so like offer it food without trying to like overpower it with a lot of people, so maybe like 1 at a time.
Offer it food, especially after it's broken into the food storage, do you think? Yeah. Okay, interesting. So far it's all observe it. It's interesting. And lastly,
our group is curious about the creature, so firstly we would like to observe it further, so that we can learn more about the creature. It is also clear to our group that the creature is hurt and afraid, having considered the evidence. So after this we would like to initiate first contact so that perhaps we could help the creature.
okay, so we're having a bit of B and a bit of, well, both parts of B, of observe it and initiate film or first contact. Okay, so no one wants to trap it even though it's broken into food supplies. No. Okay. Okay, so thank you very much. So Admiral Huntley, once again, I'll leave the decision to you, if that's okay.
Well, this is based on a real
It
scenario,
is.
one of the original episodes, and they got involved with a creature called a tribble, and the tribble was basically like a massive sort of powder puff, really, if you know what that is. It was a furry sort of like a rabbit, but with no ears and very small eyes that were inside its fur, so first contact was made, and there was a trader called Mud, where they weren't sure whether they were going to trust him or not, and the problem was that the tribbles, once fed, reproduced like rabbits again and again and again. So we got to the point where it was a bit like being smothered with jellycats, okay, but not different jellycats, but they were all different colours, and this became a running sort of joke, didn't it, during the production as well. So, okay, I think we go with this table.
Oh, 2 pips to this table. Well done.
Yes.
Well done. Here is your next
because
pip.
first contact's really important. It might only be an animal, but remember that we are now in the 21st century thinking about the animal rights in a very different way. Not just animals have feelings and we need to respect those feelings, but actually we share our planet with myriads of creatures, okay? Even the trees are sentient, right? So I think
Well,
first contact's very good. Bye, cadets. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, well done, everyone.
Right, so we have a little respite with a clip now.
Thanks, mate. Yeah.
Yes?
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission, to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
Okay.
We enjoyed that, did we?
So that's the title sequence, and you saw the Enterprise, and it's a warp drive going incredibly fast. And you can imagine the excitement. I was 8 when I first saw it, which was the reruns. The original series I don't remember, but the reruns, and you can still pick them up endlessly. Okay, just a couple of things. Captain Kirk, including diversity, was Canadian. William Shatner was a Canadian actor. DeForest Kelley was from the Deep South, and he had a Deep South accent through his career. And all his, a lot of his values came from the oldest, pretty much the oldest part of the United States. Captain Kirk is a character, came from Iowa. You know anything about Iowa? It's very flat. It grows a huge amount of crops. And one of the things that comes up in the next scenario is that he took risks.
Yes.
He took huge risks all the time. There's a very, very poignant scenario in one of the films where he says, I cheated death all the time. He's very, in the latest series of films, Star Trek Beyond, etc., he's absolutely mad about speed. He loves cars and motorbikes, and in fact William Shatner himself is a great horse rider, very Canadian in that respect. Mr. Spock, our Vulcan, half human Vulcan, he's the one, this is, can you do it, girls?
Some people can, some people. I just one
Yeah.
of those things. You know how to do it.
This is
That's where
I
it's
think
from.
all of
yeah,
you
that's
can.
where it's
Well,
from.
most of you can.
That's where it's from.
How
Okay.
can you like
You can
Now,
either do
it
it,
was,
you can't.
it was,
There's no
it
trick
was
to it.
Leonard Nimoy who invented this. Leonard Nimoy had seen it as a young boy at his synagogue, and it has two meanings. It's they were all supposed to, when they start praying and these signs are used, nobody's supposed to look because it's to do with God, and the Jewish faith does not name God except in symbols. This is a symbol for God. Well, it's one of the first letters in Hebrew of God, one of God's names. However, it's also the feminine part of God, so it has two meanings. In Vulcan, it means, ladies, can you remember? No?
It's a sentence.
Live long and prosper. Live long and prosper. So it's a way of farewell. It's usually used as a farewell. And it's used a lot of the time. The other thing that Mr. Spock can do is he can mind meld. He can put his hand on your shoulder.
That's to knock you out. Vulcan nerve pinch is to knock you out. Mind meld. My mind to your
meld.
mind.
Yeah.
Your thoughts to my thoughts. And
But he quite often does it on here as well. And these two are great buddies. There were a lot of films in the 1960s with, rather than women, male friendships. But Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid is one of the most famous. And after Spock dies, Kirk says he was the most human I ever knew. That person I ever knew. So a
Spoilers
lot
about
of,
Spock dying, by the way.
and there's also a lot of banter, have you?
Yes.
And Mr. Spock never responds because he's deadpan. Okay. Right. So last scenario of today.
Okay. Now then, this is my favourite one.
And this is our favourite.
I've saved the best to last.
Everybody has to go through this, whether you're a doctor or whether you're aiming to be a scientist in Star Trek. You have to go through part of this scenario as part of your training to be on a starship.
Okay, so you receive a distress call from the Kobayashimaru, a civilian ship with thousands of innocent people on board. It is stranded in neutral zone territory between Starfleet and Klingon territory.
So this is before the peace treaty.
Yes, before we had Worf joining Starfleet, tensions are high. I think it's a bit of a Cold War in that situation. Now, entering the zone risks violating a long-standing treaty and starting a war. So, you have 1 minute to decide if you either abandon the thousands of innocent lives to their fate, or launch a rescue and risk starting a war. As you're doing this, consider which Starfleet principles guide your decision. Duty, consequences, character. 1 minute starts now. Talk.
Why would you abandon the war?
That's for sure.
If we say just between us and the guys, if we say this amount of people and we start a war, that amount of people.
I'm going to kneel and cut your time. You've got 15 seconds.
This amount of people.
This amount of people is this amount of people. No, this amount of people are there. Literally just the No, there are thousands of innocent people on the ship. Yes. So if we save them, no, this is thousands.
You never know. Okay, cadets. Cadets. Attention, please, cadets. Right. I'm just going to do a show of hands for this bit. Okay, so hands up if you want to abandon the thousands of innocent lives to their fate. And hands up if you want to launch a rescue and risk starting a war. Well done. Is the right answer, but it doesn't end there, folks.
However,
There's a part two. So, shortly after entering the Klingon neutral zone, you lose contact with the ship you're supposed to rescue, the Kobayashimaru.
so comms does the best they can. They just cannot get. They can't raise them. Can't raise them. So are they dead? Have they? They don't. We also, because there's the Klingons are able to jam transmissions. Are they? Have they fallen? Have they fallen into the planet, as it were, crashed into the planet? We just don't know.
And there's something else the Klingons can do. They can cloak their ships, which basically means be invisible. So out of nowhere, because of that, 3 of them decloak and attack you. You barely have time to raise your shields and defend yourself. And after a short but fierce exchange of fire, most of your bridge crew is dead and your ship is critically damaged. You have succeeded, cadets. in disabling one Klingon vessel, but the other two are still firing on you.
Remember, there's only you. There's only you in the sector. There's nobody else in the quadrant. No other ships can get to you.
So, knowing all that now, you've got 1 minute to decide what you are going to do. Go.
Right. Can someone tell Jenny that she also voted to go and save them, and it's not my fault?
You all voted to go and save them, remember?
Thank you. Right, we're going to sacrifice ourselves to save them.
Yes, we are.
Who's dead already?
Klingons have the cloaking device, but they've decloaked now in order to fire.
Can they recloak?
Yes, they can technology, yes.
In some ways they got more advanced, in some ways they don't. They're not all advanced. Right, 10 seconds.
You can't steal the cloaking. Oh, we go into the disabled.
Okay, time's up.
Okay, we
Time is up, cadets. So, you're under fire. Remember, in the heat of the moment, you still have to think about those values. They're on that sheet of paper, so let's see. What do we do?
Right.
1 sentence. Run. Okay, that'll do. This table.
No, it's all right. She said, oh, who's going to start?
I think you said run. Carry on. Cadets, what are we doing?
We are going to think critically and escape.
Okay, so basically run. Okay, this table.
We'd like to negotiate with the remaining Klingon vessels and for us to retrieve the Kobayashimaru and then leave the neutral zone.
Okay, so negotiate. I wonder if they'll be open to negotiation. They're not renowned for that. This table.
Not at this stage.
Retreat, grab more people, come more subtly, and rescue Kobayashimaru. We'll try to.
Come more subtly. Interesting. And lastly,
Because we don't know if the Kobayashimaru is still out there, so instead of risking it, we would stop firing, and hopefully they would too, and we would raise a white flag essentially and try and talk to them about hostage deals.
okay, so basically we've got
Technically
run,
holding a
surrender,
hostage.
negotiate, something clever. That's it in essence. Now, I'm going to reveal to you something. This is lifted straight from Wikipedia. This is how renowned this scenario is. It's got its own Wikipedia page. As it says there, it's a fictional exercise designed to place space cadets in a no-win scenario. It was invented for the film Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, which we have alluded to, and it has been referred to many times in Star Trek canon, including in the new films, a clip of which I'm going to show you in a minute. Now, the nominal goal is to rescue the ship, which is damaged and stranded in neutral territory, but the cadet being advised must decide whether to attempt or endangering the ship and crew or leave it behind a certain destruction. If you choose to attempt to rescue, which you all did, good for you, following the code about being brave and putting others before yourself, an insurmountable enemy force, 3 Klingon vessels, attack you, and there's no one to help you. Note the highlighted bit is described as testing the character of cadets rather than their actual skills, acclimating them to the emotional toll of defeat. Okay? This is not a perfect universe. Despite it being a utopia, things can go wrong sometimes, okay? Something to bear in mind in the future. Last sentence, though, this alludes back to what Miss Huntley said about Captain Kirk taking risks. A key plot point of many depictions is James T. Kirk becoming the only cadet to rescue Kobayashimaru by hacking a simulation instead. And I'm going to show you a clip from the new films. So the new, we haven't really talked about them too much, but they're essentially a reboot, is that the right word?
They're a reboot, yes.
Of the original, and this is how he did it.
And these are directed by J.J. Abrams, who I'm sure you've probably heard of as a director, producer.
We are receiving a distress signal from the USS Kobayashimaru. The ship has lost power and is stranded. Starfleet Command has ordered us to rescue them.
Starfleet Command has ordered us to rescue them, Captain.
2 Klingon vessels have entered the neutral zone and are locking weapons on us.
That's okay?
That's okay?
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Did he say don't worry about it? Is he not taking a simulation seriously?
3 more Klingon warbirds decloaking and targeting our ship.
I don't suppose this is a problem.
They're firing, Captain.
Alert medical bay and prepare to receive all crew members from the damaged ship.
And how do you expect us to rescue them when we're surrounded by Klingons, Captain?
Alert medical.
Our ship is being hit. Shields at 60%.
I understand.
So should we, I don't know, fire back?
No.
Of course not. Okay.
What is this? What's going on?
Armed photons, prepare to fire on the Klingon warbirds. Yes, sir.
Jim, their shields are still up.
Are they?
No, they're not.
Fire on all enemy ships. 1 photon each to do. Let's not waste ammunition.
Target locked and acquired on all warbirds. Firing.
All ships destroyed, Captain.
Begin rescue of the stranded crew. So, we've managed to eliminate all enemy ships. No one on board was injured, and the successful rescue of the Kobayashimaru crew is underway.
How the hell did that kid beat your test?
I do not know.
Okay. The reboot is the original Enterprise crew.
We are receiving.
Sorry. Carry on.
As they would be at Starfleet Academy. So they're much, much younger. So the language is very, very different. The whole scenario is very different. They're behaving like students would at university. Okay. Chris Pine, who is playing James T. Kirk, Tiberius Kirk, in case you're wondering, is having the time of his life, and the person who's at the console is Bones, his other friend, the Doctor, who can't believe what on earth's going on, because everybody on the bridge knows how serious this is. This is this is your evaluation as his evaluation as a captain. Here's the reboot. There's J.J. Abrams, Zachary Quinto.
I can't remember his name. Is this McCoy? Carl Urban. Give us McCoy.
Carl Urban. Carl Urban was also in
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. So we've still got the diversity. Still, sadly, the actor playing Chekhov is no longer with us due to a terrible car accident. And this is Simon Pegg, who's playing Scotty, and very funny he is too. Kirk cheated death, and in The Wrath of Khan, one of the a philosophy concept comes up, because they're in a no-win situation, and Spock sacrifices himself, the one for the many. And there's this heartbreaking moment where we watch Spock dying of radiation poisoning. And of course, radiation poisoning was to become a very, very big problem when Chernobyl exploded in the Ukraine in the 1980s. And so Star Trek reflects the context of its time. We see Spock die, we see James Kirk's grief, we see they can't touch each other, but through the glass of the radiation reactor, they do this on the glass. So there's a spinal moment. Ironically, of course, with the next film, because of what happened at the end of the film, the whole planet regenerates, and it's the same in the reboot. Spock comes to life again, but I remember being in Star Trek 2 I have a cousin who, we're both Trekkies, as fans are called, and the whole audience, we were in the Odeon Leicester Square watching it, great big cinema, enormous speakers, massive score, when you think we were watching it originally on black and white televisions. The whole audience could not believe what they were watching, that we were going to lose this seminal character, this really important character. He is really important because even as a character, he has a life. Like in Charles Dickens, where there are characters beyond the literature, so the characters on Star Trek, that original bridge, have a life beyond the series, and so it goes on. So, and there we are.
So to finish off.
Take her out, Mr. Sally.
Aye, sir.
For everything, there is a first time, Lieutenant. Don't you agree, Admiral?
Remember this when you're learning to drive.
Mr. Sulu.
aft thrusters.
Would you like the tranquilizer?
Hit 1/4 impulse power.
And 1/4 impulse power. Free and clear to navigate.
Course heading, Captain?
Captain's discretion. Mr. Sulu, you may indulge yourself.
Aye.
And just to finish off, in the world of NASA, which is the American Space Agency, the first space shuttle was called Enterprise, and so the original cast went down to see it named. And the reason that it was named that was because the fan base, lobbied the president and NASA for this name to be done. And also in 2016, which was the 50th anniversary, the director of NASA was an African American former Navy pilot. He would not have achieved that post without the role models of Star Trek. And still today there are battle cruisers in the American Navy called Enterprise. That's how all-encompassing this culture is.
Yeah, its influence cannot be underestimated at all.
That's right.
Yeah,
far greater actually than Star Wars, in fact. Because of the diversity, because of the culture, because of the equality of all nations.
It is based on our, it's our future imagine of our world, was called Star Wars. Is a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Yeah. So, anyway, cadets, dismissed. Well done.
Stand
well
up,
done.
give yourself a Falcon salute. Live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper, cadets. And
Well
let's break character and say, break character and say goodbye to the camera, please. Bye.